What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Everyday Tech, and I am back with a new video. This time, I just wanted to do a quick follow-up about my experience with the Pixel 8 Pro. Now, I've had this for almost a whole year, and that had me thinking about, am I going to stick with Pixel? Am I going to move over? Am I going to maybe switch to iPhone? Because, I do love just about every phone manufacturer. I don't really hate iPhones. I don't hate Samsung. I just prefer Pixels. And here's why. Now, number one, the biggest thing for me is the experience. And I know it's an intangible and it's really hard to explain, but the same way everyone always says, well, iPhones just work, is how I feel about Pixels. See, I'm one of the lucky ones. I don't really have a lot of bugs or any issues. I think it's been a generally positive experience for me. When it comes to running some of my favorite apps or playing some of my favorite games like Pokemon Go, I said that very weird, Pokemon Go, Asphalt 9, games of that nature, Wild Rift, it runs them perfectly fine. And I know the Tensor G3 was not considered a very powerful chip, but that's a weird argument in all honesty. It's not as powerful as the A series chip from Apple or even the Snapdragon chips that you see in every other manufacturer. But that doesn't make the chip bad, slow, or weak. It actually is very powerful, especially because it has to run a lot of the ambient AI processes on device. That's a part of the experience that I really, really love. Half the things I want my phone to do, it's doing without me pressing a button or asking it to. For instance, I did leave Pixels after my Pixel 4 XL, I believe. I went to the Samsung Galaxy S21, I think that's what was out at the time. Great phone, but the first thing I noticed, I missed Google's call screening. Google's call screening is amazing. It's one of those ambient AI features. It runs automatically, it knows what to do, and I don't have to think about it. The amount of times it saved me from spam calls or even debt collectors or anything like that is undeniable. And I didn't even know it was doing it until I switched over. Another thing I really love is honestly the design. Now, I don't think it's the best looking phone out there, but I do love how unique it is. So the design, it's actually very beautiful, especially in this beige color. Now, granted, I prefer the porcelain color. I do love a white phone. But this one is beautiful. It's very sleek, so well made. And thankfully, I haven't had any durability issues. You see, they still use Gorilla Glass Victus on the front and back, and they have this lovely soft touch feel with the matte finish, and it's been perfect. Even better, the front is flat, unlike my 6 Pro with that curved screen that just kept getting on my nerves. I've only got one scratch on the screen, which happened recently because I had another phone in my pocket. And honestly, there's no scratches on my camera roll, at least nothing really noticeable. It still looks almost brand new. That's saying a lot. Yes, I do rock a case a lot, but when I'm home, I usually take my case off. And even with some other phones that I've had in cases, this just seems to hold up a lot better. And how about the battery life? Because that's always been a concern with Pixels. And I gotta say, battery life is good. It's not the best. It's not crazy 3-day battery or anything, but it does last me all day. And that's even when I'm using it for work or some high-powered usage, things like gaming or taking a lot of photos or videos. Those two things do seem to drain the battery a lot quicker. But it's never been to the point where I find myself running to charge in the middle of the day. I had it a little bit with my 4 XL, not so often, but a couple of times, not so much with this guy. Alongside the battery life, I have to say is the thermals. I haven't had any issues with the thermals. I know some people seem to have some warming up issues. I've had it more on my 6 Pro than this one. Whatever Google's doing with the Tensor chip and working on the thermals, it shows in this guy. I don't have an overheated phone when I'm running a lot of tasks. If I'm gaming for a while, then I notice it. But all in all, great experience. The screen, I forgot to talk about the screen. Beautiful. It is their actual display. It gets up to like 24,000 nits brightness, and I have zero complaints with it. And I live in Florida where it's very bright, and this always looks good. The only issue I have is sometimes the auto brightness, it's a little slow, and it doesn't always seem to respond very well, and I have to wait for it to kick in. That's the downside. I don't like that too much. Now, it's not perfect, it's a little big for my taste. It doesn't have crazy good battery like I would like to see. Like, how an iPhone 15 Pro Max is known to have like ridiculously good battery, or the Galaxy S23 Ultra, S24 Ultra. It doesn't have a lot of power compared to the competitors. And I think that's what Google needs to focus on this year. They need to make this extremely powerful for two reasons primarily. Number one is because the competitors have it, and if you want to market and you want to show that you're a worthy opponent to Samsung and Apple, you have to meet them on the battlefield with the same amount of guns as they have. And sadly, the Pixel just doesn't have as much ammunition or as much power as the competition. Now, number two is some of these AI processes I would love to see handled on device so they could be even better. One of my favorite features of this phone is video boost. And that's where you take a video and it enhances it, but it can take a couple of hours because it's being done over a server. If we can get that done on device, it doesn't have to be immediate, but even if it takes like 5 minutes, I don't think a phone's gonna be able to beat that camera when it comes to video. Because video boost is so crazy good. If it happens on device with the Pixel 9, it's a wrap. I don't see how anyone's gonna compete unless they throw some crazy cameras in these next iPhones and Samsungs. Those are the main two reasons that I can see Pixels getting better. Every year, this thing matures. It's gonna get to the point where the only things they're gonna have to do is focus on software. And they've been really good this year. A lot less bugs, a lot less issues. I haven't really had much to complain about. And I think anyone who picks up a Pixel 8 Pro right now will be extremely happy. Maybe I'm just a Pixel fanboy, or maybe it's just a damn good phone. Anyway, that's up to you to decide. Let me know what you think about the Pixels. Let me know what phone you're currently using, and if you're excited for the Pixel 9, or if you're gonna wait for the Pixel 10 when they supposedly changed the chip manufacturer from Samsung to TSMC. I think I said that correctly. Either way, thanks for letting me talk about tech, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.